An English goalkeeper conceded one goal in a run-of-the-mill football match, and it somehow impacted the Bengals. What am I talking about? Let's find out. What's up, Bengals fans? John Sheeran of A to Z Sports Cincinnati here, and to be quite honest with you, I'm really glad that this story is wrapping up before free agency happens, because it probably wasn't going to be fulfilled anyways. But what the hell am I even talking about anyways? Well, there is a football club over in England called Burnley FC, and they have a really talented goalkeeper by the name of James Trafford, who happens to be a pretty big Bengals fan. Now, late in 2024, the Bengals are about to play the Pittsburgh Steelers to wrap up the regular season. Remember, the Bengals had to win that game, and the Denver Broncos had to lose in order for the Bengals to actually get into the playoffs. And leading up to that game, Trafford was discussing it with Burnley's minority owner, who happens to be J.J. Watt of all people. And Trafford, being the American football fan and the Bengals fan that he is, he asked Watt what would it take for him to come out of retirement and play for the Bengals. And Watt jokingly said, yeah, if you don't give up a goal for the rest of the season, which runs until May, I'll play for the Bengals and come out of retirement. And Trafford not only took that seriously, but he got pretty much halfway there, because for the next 2 months, Trafford was putting up clean sheet after clean sheet after clean sheet at a pretty high level in English football. Clean sheets meaning that he didn't give up a goal, and Burnley either drew or won all those matches when he was in goal. And while all this is happening, JJ Watt is watching back from the States like, man, do I actually have to go to Cincinnati? But as you could imagine, Watt made the bet with pretty high confidence that he wasn't going to have to pay up his end of the bargain, because if Trafford somehow played 20-something matches and didn't give up a goal, it would have been so impressive that Watt, when he was on the Dan Patrick show a couple weeks ago, he told Dan Patrick that, yeah, he would come out of retirement just to honor Trafford's incredible achievement. But unfortunately for the Bengals and Trafford, his clean sheet streak did actually end this week at 14 matches. But still, I mean, 14 consecutive clean sheets. Like, I think Watt and Burnley will take that 10 times out of 10. And honestly, even if Watt is not going to come out of retirement and join the Bengals, I think more positives came out of the situation than negatives. For one, I think a lot of Bengals fans were actually interested in seeing how long Trafford could keep this up. Watt told Dan Patrick that there was actually increased viewership from the Ohio region about the team. And number two, Watt came away surprised that his prized goalkeeper, and I think another one of his teammates, were big Bengals fans. It doesn't surprise me that there's even more Bengals fans over in England. UK Bengals is one of the largest international NFL fan groups that we know of. But Watt is a pretty big figurehead and ambassador for the game now that he is retired, and I think the more knowledge that he has of the Bengals as a brand is growing on an international basis, I think that's great. It's not great that he doesn't love Skyline and he had to throw that in our faces, but you know, we'll take what we can get. But if you knew nothing about this story and this is the first time that you're hearing about it, the Cliff Notes is there's a big Bengals fan over in England who plays soccer and is really good at his job, and he really, really wanted J.J. Watt to play for the Bengals so much that he had the best 14-match stretch of his entire career. And if nothing else, I think that's pretty cool, because as someone who grew up watching the Bengals, my main memories of Watt as a player is how much he dominated the Bengals in the early 2010s in the playoffs. Like, the guy just single-handedly beat the Bengals in 2011 in that wildcard game as a rookie. You already knew that he was going to be someone pretty special. So the idea of him coming out of retirement to play for this new era of Bengals team after he tortured them in the very beginning of his career, that would have been extremely cool to see. Unfortunately, it's just not in the cards. I think Watt kind of knew that when he made the bet in the first place, but fun story nonetheless.